Welcome to Bradley J. Travel. Today it's Rome. My travel partner and I, Shannon, splurged and took a taxi from the airport to Rome. The difference between two train fares and the taxi ride really made the taxi ride worth it. Very first thing upon arriving, try to find a spritz. And after that refreshment, headed towards the Pantheon area and happened to get into this restaurant, Armando al Pantheon. And look how close it is to the Pantheon. There it is right there. And there's our hotel in the background. We went with the rigatoni, amatriciana, and the carbonara. If you can get into Armando's, do it. We were lucky. It's pretty difficult. We were also lucky with our hotel room. It's only about 75 feet from the Pantheon itself. Look at this view. I don't generally care about views that much, but this is an exception. I cared about this one a lot. Gotta be one of my favorite places in the world. One of my favorite spots. Day 2, another town, Viterbo. There's the entrance to our very weird Airbnb. Weird and good. Someone had decorated it in a complete medieval knight way. With shields. That shield had an arrow sticking out of it. Look at those ceilings. Weapons of war. I was kind of blown away by this. Had no idea. We were both blown away. We loved it. Had a real nice kitchen, nice bathroom. It did have a sunken bedroom, which was a little problematic because if you got up in the night to use the bathroom and then forgot where you were, you could walk right off the edge. Look. Couple of small issues. Couldn't figure out how to make the internet machine work. That's because the modem was unplugged. I had to figure that out, and couldn't figure out how to get the heat on either. All right, out on the street. It's a cute town. Seems like a very family-friendly town. Convivial, if you will, to coin a Rick Steves phrase. Stunning. Such a Christmassy place in December. Super friendly. A little bit of history about this town. It was once a papal seat. During that time period, there was a conclave. They, had to choose a new pope. And that conclave was the longest conclave in history ever. How long do you think it lasted? It lasted 1,006 days. So it was. This was Sunday night, and very difficult to find a restaurant. Very difficult to find a market. Because whenever I ride into town, I need to get a couple beers. I need to get some water and something for the middle of the night to eat. But finally found one and found this restaurant. Took the train back to Rome, did the 40-minute walk to Trastevere, and found that Suppli Roma was open. If you're going to get Suppli, go here. Suppli Roma, look it up, Suppli. And when you do go, get an arancini, really, that's the only thing that matters. And don't mess around. Have your order ready to go. I would have taken more pictures there, but it's just not something you do because there's so many people behind you, you don't want to hold them up. We did kind of splurge for a fancy hotel, and I'm so glad we did. I've never regretted spending a lot of money on a hotel. It had a really cool breakfast. You couldn't eat everything. You couldn't even come close. You couldn't even sample everything. So this is the Trastevere neighborhood, which that hotel is in. Oops, look at that. This place was kind of a ripoff. They had some cruddy meatballs, kind of bait and switched. Still, that wasn't that bad. Beautiful Trastevere neighborhood. And this is a wine shop at which you can sit at tables. There are like 4 or 5 tables inside, maybe, and a couple outside. And this cool gentleman will serve you really good wine by the glass. Wine by the glass that you generally probably couldn't get by the glass. And it was affordable. And here's the big Vatican Day. There's actually 2 big Vatican Days. There's the trip to the Vatican Museum, and the next day, the audience with the Pope. One big thing is there people will come up and try to sell you tickets to skip the line. After passing on a couple of skip the line hucksters, this guy looked pretty cool. I gave him the 3rd degree, and we went with him. And his company supplied Maurizio the guide, who was tremendous. Inside the museum, of course, they have a lot of spectacular stuff. This is a tapestry. Just one item is worth uncountable coin. The church is so rich. Look, these are all tapestries. Even the floors are indescribably beautiful. It's all so stunning. And yes, we went to the Sistine Chapel, and you cannot take photos there, and I'm glad. Here's St. Peter's Basilica. When you walk in, the first thing you notice is it's big. That's its main attraction. There was an older one built by Constantine in the 4th century, but this one was started in 1506, and it didn't get completed till 1626. One thing that's fantastic inside is the pietà, which means piety. That alone is enough reason to visit. Shannon had the idea to go to the Mouth of Truth. I didn't even know about this. It's believed that it's a lie detector, and if you tell a lie with your hand in it, it will bite your arm off. And now back to my beloved Trastevere. On the way back to the hotel, we stopped at that wonderful wine shop with the tables, and then back to luxurious digs, and a good rest for the big day ahead. And this is the day when we got up early and went to see the Pope. And this is kind of far away. He does he speaks to people outdoors. There's quite a lot of people there, and that's pretty far away. But I did manage to get this, and this is pretty close. This was Shannon's idea. Thank you so much, Shannon, for making this happen. And there's the Castel Sant'Angelo. It was built around 139 AD as Emperor Hadrian's mausoleum, and it's also been a fortress in 401, papal residence in the 14th century, and it was a prison before becoming a museum in 1901. And it has a good view. It's not a must, but if you're walking by, why not? Now check this place out. This is Bar San Callisto. And everyone here looks like a movie star. Check this guy out. And then there's this guy who's kind of posy, but still. And this gentleman here, directly out of some Italian movie. And this dude, I don't know what to say. And here's my favorite guy. And after that, hit a cool restaurant. Thought it might be touristy, but no. Some wonderful artichokes, fettuccine and mushrooms. A good deal and very good. Also, the caprese salad. Now back to our home territory, Pantheon. We stayed 3 nights at the Pantheon area and 2 nights in Trastevere. So we got to go to the Pantheon a bunch. It did come to feel like home. I do want to show you the Pantheon floors. According to my research, the Pantheon still has all its original marble decoration on the floors and walls. I'm guessing you'll recognize this as the Colosseum. We think of buildings built in the 1400s as old. Well, this was built from 69 to 79 AD. It could hold 65,000 people, and it even had an awning called a velarium, which would be drawn over the seating area to provide shade. The tickets to the Colosseum are paired with tickets to the Forum. And I recommend getting a guide for the Forum because there are so many events that happened over such a long stretch of time. It's tough to match them with the different structures. So I think a guide would be good. It does help to bring it alive. This unassuming spot is allegedly where Julius Caesar was burned up. You can see where he was allegedly killed over in Largo, Argentina, which is also the home of this really cool restaurant. It just happens to be there. No big deal, but I think it had my favorite dish of the whole trip, cacio pepe. And this is not a famous restaurant. This is just a restaurant on the corner. And back to home court there, getting ready for the big meat meal. I try to stay away from meat, but with this beautiful Selim area 200 feet away, what are you going to do? A lot of food the folks eat there is super simple. unbelievably good bread, butter, and ham. Tough to beat. There's a back room, which is for charcuterie only. And even though I am trying to stay away from meat, it is a big part of the local cuisine. So we went in and said charcuterie for two. And the dude, who was so friendly and so nice, gave us a monster amount, as you'll see in a minute. Just, 4 tables back there? Here he is. Nice guy, folks coming in and out like family. Maybe some of them were family. And look at the plate he put together. All different cuts, and a lot of it with cheeses as well. One of the cuts was from the head. That was a little much for me. It was kind of fatty. Oh, yeah, and he gave us on the house some truffle cheese. On the walk back, we crossed the square, crossed the Pantheon entrance, and this dude, not your average busker, was singing. And then after the hotel, which was so close that you could still hear him singing from our window. This is from our window. You know, it might have been the best trip ever. Thank you, Shannon. If you liked the video, please subscribe, share, rate, and follow. That's right, follow to get notified of new video posts.